But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win. What do you?
If politics has taught us anything, it is that sometimes your alleged allies can be more vicious than your enemies. That was a lesson Gavin Newsom had to learn the hard way. Because when even Bill Maher, who has previously publicly praised him, starts disparaging his leadership, your political career is in ruins. Nor was this a casual comment. On live television, this was Bill Maher, who instantly destroyed the California governor's shining reputation. What about the unpleasant aspect? Maher's criticism of Newsom's proposals was not the only thing he did. He disparaged his reputation and goals, even condensing his entire political career into the incredibly shallow statement, "He looks like he could do."
Gavin Newsom is the governor of California, home to 12% of all Americans and 50% of all Mexicans. On the upside, Newsom is the only governor, with the possible exception of Kristi Noem, who looks like they could do.
Your greatest accomplishment as the governor of the most powerful state would be written off as well, at least your heart. Under Newsom, California is drowning in homelessness, crime, and corporate flight despite its wealth, resources, and ingenuity. Instead of tackling urgent issues, he brags about gender-neutral toy aisles while taxes destroy families. Bill Maher's statement was potent because it exposed the truth: lofty rhetoric cannot hide bad leadership. Because Newsom is all show and no substance, Californians are suffering.
I don't want to say he really wants to be the guy who steps in if the current nominee goes down, but he gets an alert on his phone every time Biden can't think of a word. The downside is that governor of California is kind of like being conservator for Britney Spears.
In essence, it's an endless disaster for which no one wishes to take accountability. When managing one of the wealthiest states is like dealing with a celebrity breakdown, you know something is seriously amiss. Californians already know that homelessness is out of control, and Maher confirmed this. He wasn't just kidding. Free services, weak laws, and a lack of enforcement have turned sidewalks into tent cities. Rather, anarchy has replaced what began as compassion.
We'll attack him on California's homeless problem, but there's a response to that. The homeless can live anywhere, but they choose California.
The recurrent themes in California's crime epidemic are neglect and failure. Instead of serving as a haven for law-abiding citizens, the state has become a haven for criminals. If you break into a business and take thousands of dollars, you'll most likely be back on the streets the next day. This is not justice, but anarchy posing as progress. Meanwhile, residents face deteriorating living conditions, a rise in crime, and hazardous neighborhoods. In addition to the loss of safety, California is also losing people. Many families are leaving, as are big businesses like Joe Rogan and Elon Musk. A warning that what should have been a land of opportunity has turned into a land of flight, with slick rhetoric taking the place of true leadership. Bill Maher is now publicly stating what millions already think, that Gavin Newsom is all show and no substance.
Of course, the knock on Gavin has always been that he's slick. Yeah, you know what? I'm okay with that. I noticed slick is something no one has been accusing Biden of lately. Do you want good at talking or don't you? Newsom is the best communicator in the party with a history of standing up to bullies, and his name lends itself to the best slogan since I Like Ike. I'm having Gavin.
He is shrewd. He is charming. He is polished. He can be thought of as a living billboard. And for a while, it was effective. He could enthrall an audience, deliver a speech that sounded like it was lifted straight from a Hollywood screenplay, and smile his way out of tough questions. The problem is that charm doesn't translate into affordable housing. Crime does not disappear because of pretentious language. Your attractive appearance will keep businesses in your state. Being a good spinner and having good looks are no longer sufficient for leadership. Who is beginning to notice? Voters, both Republicans and Democrats. Bill Maher, who was speaking on a progressive, African-American-owned radio station, recalled that the host even claimed that Newsom was too radical to win a national election. That's not what the GOP is saying. That's what Newsom's own political friends are saying.
I was on KBLA yesterday, with my friend Teva Smiley. I'm an investor and a supporter of that station. And he said, "Who do you want for running president?" I mentioned, "I think you'd be good at the job." Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American-owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you...
When your staunchest supporters start calling you unfit for office, you have a problem. The issue is that Newsom knows this. Because of this, he's constantly attempting to position himself as the one who can take over if Biden falters. He is lusting for the office in spite of his denials. Nevertheless, he needs to understand the truth. If he can't lead California, what makes him seem capable of leading America? The awakened circus should not be disregarded. Oh boy, this is where Newsom truly loses people. Bill Maher was right on the money when he ridiculed California's law requiring gender-neutral spaces for toy companies employing more than 500...
Look at the swing states. There's only 8 of them.
Right. Well, I mean, California's an interesting case study, isn't it? It's the size of 21 state populations combined.
Yeah.
2/3 of state is very deeply red. We don't need to be lectured on rural politics or border issues. I mean, in so many ways, these are familiar issues, and the issues of the heartland of the United States are very much a part and parcel of the work we're doing in the state. But look, I understand this notion that you're from the coast, you don't understand those things, you can't talk the language, you're not able to communicate, and you're not able to actually encourage and find that common ground.
No, it's stuff like there's a new law in this. I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about, and this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
Given the rise in homelessness and crime, is the government truly devoting time and funds to this? Children now seem to be forced to use toys to express their political opinions rather than just play with them. It's ridiculous. There is no tone to it. And for that exact reason, Newsom and other politicians are derided by Americans everywhere. Think about this. Families are struggling to make ends meet, small businesses are closing because of the burden of taxes and regulations, and crime is on the rise in some areas. Additionally, Newsom made a significant contribution by making sure Barbie and Hot Wheels were kept on the same shelf. This is not leadership. This is giving in to the awakened crowd at the expense of workable solutions.
Government there.
That's an interesting one because the department stores came to us supporting that, and they're the ones making a case for that. They were making us. They're already moving in that direction.
Wanted you to make a law about them?
Well, but they supported the legislation. It wasn't legislation that was enacted, that was initiated from my office, but it was legislation that came up with interesting support from the industry itself. But I understand how that's exploited. Good people can disagree, but that's not something we woke up and said this is a top priority for the state when we know what the top priorities are: homelessness, housing, the issues of crime, quality of life, and issues related to regulation and taxes, which are all top of mind.
The issue of water comes next. Man, this one would almost be humorous if it weren't so serious. More than 80% of California's water resources are used for agriculture, which includes almonds. Do you know how much water it takes to grow 1 pound of almonds? Over 1,900 gallons.
And good job this year making it rain.
You're welcome.
That
was my legislative priority.
It was looking bad there for a while, and we still don't have enough water in the Colorado River and all this stuff. Yeah. And then whenever I read, 80% of the water goes to agriculture. Almonds. Right. No one ever asked you about almonds? Oh, I'm going to ask you about almonds.
Meanwhile, regular Californians are constantly told to ration water as though the world were ending. Shorter showers, brown grass, and strict water restrictions. Meanwhile, corporate farms are growing nuts with billions of gallons. It's crazy. Moreover, when questioned, Newsom doesn't really have an answer. Another practice talk about climate change and storage upgrades. Translation: smoother rhetoric, less accountability.
We grow a boatload of almonds.
I'm well
here.
aware.
You know how much water it takes?
Many gallons.
1,900 gallons to grow a pound of almonds. Yeah. Come on, man. Take on big almond.
Take on big almond.
I mean, it's not like we don't have the water.
No.
But
You're right about it. It's not that we don't have the water. That said, the last couple of years were tough. I mean, but it's also where the water's falling and we're not capturing it. And we're not capturing in those extreme years with these atmospheric rivers. Wets are getting a lot wetter, dry's drier, hot's getting a lot hotter. And so we've got to modernize our conveyance system. We've got to modernize our storage, not just above ground, but below ground. And so that's a big part of our focus and frame, including desalinization plants. We have 20 projects just on desal that we're working on today. So we put out a detailed water strategy that includes, by the way, getting that Delta Conveyance project back up and operational, and includes the first above ground off stream storage facility in half a century in the state, which, by the way, is being aided by a regulatory package I pushed forward to reduce red tape in the state of California.
That is the real topic at hand. Newsom is skilled at giving the impression that he is doing something when he is not. He knows all the jargon. He can deliver a speech that makes you feel as though things are improving. However, do you think California is getting better or worse? Words cannot fix broken systems. Something happens. And Newsom hasn't done that at all. The fact that some people want this man to be president is unsettling. Think about that. The man who turned California into a cautionary tale wants to spread his program across the nation. California is not a recipe for success. So if it is used as a model, America should brace itself. The blueprint is deteriorating.
What? I'm telling you, you're good at this job. Okay, but here's the thing. But here's, I feel like the last couple of years you've like purposely picked this fight with the red states. I mean, the DeSantis. Yeah, but I don't want to live in the Civil War country.
I agree with that.
You know what? Well, but you seem like you purposely want to set up this dichotomy between, this is a blue state and that's a red state. Yeah. And I don't want to live in that country. I like Florida.
I'm with you. And by the way, I like Florida as well. I like all these states. I completely agree. I don't want to have a state of mind that's a constant fight or flight. We've gone through so much. We've been polarized and traumatized. This has been a tough 5-6 years across the globe, not just in this country. That said, I'm not going to sit back and watch. You made the point just a moment ago in your monologue. You got folks out there trying to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. America in reverse, rolling back voting rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, not just access to abortion, but contraception.
Under Newsom, California is not establishing the norm. It serves as a warning about what happens when pretentious speeches, woke politics, and broken promises take over. Furthermore, we will be addressing California's problems nationally if America makes the mistake of elevating him to the White House. In short, Newsom is shrewd, according to Bill Maher. He has good communication skills, but there's nothing behind it all. Words, actions, and illusions only. And at a time when Americans desperately need workable solutions, that isn't leadership. It's disastrous in designer suits. The primary takeaway is that if Bill Maher, a former Trump supporter, is voicing his disapproval, then the rest of America should follow suit. Instead of thriving, California is collapsing. And Gavin Newsom's leadership is a big part of it. On a national scale, would we really want to take that chance? What do you think? Does Gavin Newsom hold the key to the Democratic Party's future? Or is he just another well-dressed, slick-talking politician who never accomplishes anything? Tell me in the space provided for comments below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you prefer simpler analyses like this one. I promise you won't want to miss what happens next.